Welcome to the input output from scratch video. In this video we'll have an edit text box that is for input. We'll have a button that we will click and then we'll display a message in an output box. So let's go ahead and start a new project. Project is going to be an Android project. Project name will be input output demo. Build target for this will be 2.1. Application name will be input and output demo. You can have spaces in the application name. Okay, pretty much everything's same as the buttons video. Here's our project. I have build automatically selected, so it takes a while to generate. If you want to, just click on it and click run. There we go. Android application, and it will run the default Hello World program. Yep. Okay, where to start? Let's start with what we want to have is a user interface that has a label, a text box, a button, a label, and a text box. That's it. So let's go ahead and go to our main.xml. And if you want, you can change the existing config. I like the half VGA. Choose that and choose Android 2.1. Give it a second. There we go. And we'll try to do as much as we can from the graphical layout. So we said we needed one text view, so we already have one. We'll leave that there. We need an edit text. We need a button. Then we need a text view. And we need another edit text. Alright, I think that's all we need. Go ahead and run that, and then what we'll do is we'll go back into main.xml. We'll create some value strings and we'll make these widgets ours. Alright, in just a minute or two without any lines of coding, we have created an Android app, and it consists of just these basic widgets which we are now going to modify. I was in the DDMS to look at that. To go back to Java, just click on the Java window perspective. Here's main.xml. Once you have the actual widgets that you want from graphical layout, I think the utility of graphical layout is done. So just click on main.xml and let's go ahead and edit that. Let's go ahead and clean up our elements here, our style for our elements. If you have the same style, it will make it a lot easier. So this will be our little style. This was all here for us. We're just formatting this, put it into a form that is just a little bit easier for us to look at. So we'll do this. This will be our little style guide coding convention for XML. I like to put the closing angle bracket for the element at on its own line, so that when we add something, which we often do, we don't have to add it to the middle of the list because we started out like this. Alright, so that's our convention. We'll clean all these up. Alright, that looks a little better, and let's just go widget by widget and see what we need. The first text view, remember this acts as a label, so let's enter into strings.xml. This is where this is going to end up. We'll call this label LBL input. Alright, and then while we're doing that, let's do the same thing on this text view down here. Rather than just text view, we'll say, okay, so the at string means that we have to have an element. We have to have a string element that is going to be in strings.xml. Well, it can be in any values XML file, but that's what is logical. A string element should go in strings.xml. And we'll just be consistent here. So we called this one label. You know what? Let's call this LBL. So LBL input for label, and we'll call this one LBL output. Alright, let's go back to values before we forget about them. Here's strings.xml. You can look at this, you can look at the resources and do it here. I think it's a little bit easier if we just go right to XML. Here's hello. We deleted that. We don't need that anymore. Actually, you know what we can do? Just change the name here to LBL input. And here we'll say, we'll prompt the user. Say enter. Your name below. Okay. Once we've done that, let's copy that and paste it. And for our output, LBL output, we'll just say your output message, your output greeting. So what this app is going to do, we're going to input our first name, and the user will input his or her first name in the first edit text box, and then click a button and then see greeting in the second edit text box. So input, processing, output. To get confidence in your project, go ahead and run it whenever you want to. Alright, and we can see our changes. So we just changed these two labels. Edit your name below and then your output greeting. Not a line of Java yet. And speaking of which, let's go back and handle that button. So I accidentally moved main.xml from layout to values. There we go. I should have just clicked on this tab. Okay, so our button, we'll put the text that we want in a string element, and we'll just call that button prompt. Let's rename our ID. The ID looks okay here, but let's just change this to BTN01 just to be consistent with our previous exercises. Okay, so our ID will recognize that BTN01, and we need an element, a string element named BTN prompt. So let's do that now. Go back to strings. Yep, always save. A little bit heavy on the mouse today. I accidentally moved strings is what happened. Should have just clicked this right here. Okay, so make sure what we named it. I can't keep moving these guys. So that's a good lesson for me. Just to navigate between main.xml, which is in layout, and strings.xml, which is in values. Just click on these two tabs when you're going back and forth. Alright, so we need a value for BTN prompt. So let's go to strings and create that now. Let's copy and paste. The name was btn prompt. Run that. When you run things in Eclipse, it will prompt you if you haven't saved anything and saved your project as well. So everything looks good. You can see we changed the text for our button. Now let's give that button something to do. Let's put that button to work. So to do that, we have to go to our Java file, input output demo.java. And what do we do about the button? If you're stuck about what to do about the button, you can open up your reference, resize that, and this will look familiar. And this tells you a lot just from the initial return. A button is a widget, and it's of the Android package. Let's go to that and see how to handle a button. Here's button. This will look familiar. Oh yeah, that on-click listener thing, we have to do that. Oh, and look, this is how we actually establish a pointer to the ID. And this, we can name this whatever we want. Where do we put all this stuff? Well, we put all this stuff inside our onCreate method. So this looks kind of strange because there are a couple code blocks here within this objects. This is an object that we just created here named button, and this is its method set onClick listener. So within that we have one code block. This goes all the way here, and then we have this inner code block. So it's kind of strange. In Java and in any language, you shouldn't be creating a function inside a function, but it kind of looks like that's what we're doing here. So just allow yourself that and copy and paste that into your project. And where does it go? Remember, it goes inside the onCreate. Clean that up. And when you do a copy and paste like that from the developer.android site, you'll see some errors here. We'll handle them one at a time. You can already guess what's going on here. It doesn't know what the class button is because we haven't imported it. It doesn't know, the compiler does not know what the view is because we have not imported it. But these other syntax errors here, you can see we have our two closing French braces down here. So we've got some extra closing French braces. So don't be alarmed. Take your time and just make sure that they are in fact paired up. Tip for you: if you want to click here at the end, you can see there's no little beginning box. This is where this one begins. That's the pair. Here's that pair. So that looks good. Let's delete these two. Alright, so our code looks good. Now let's just delete these spaces. Alright, so I'm sure you got this in CIT63 and other intro programming classes, but the alignment of your code is for you, the programmer. And that looks good. Alright, let's go ahead and add references for add the libraries for button and view. And that is let's import what was button? That's right, it was a widget. You can import the entire widget library if you want to, but let's just do it like this, button. And you can see the button error went away. We have to do the same thing for view. And in fact, let's go ahead and run our little app right now and just see what we need to do yet. Okay, this is looking pretty good. This edit text box, it's not very nice having the text show up like that. So we can control that. But what we want to do is get the text out of here, click on this, and combine this with a greeting. This is like the second program that we do in our intro class. So we're just doing that here in with our Android app class. So let's take a look at that first, edit text box. So let's go back to main.xml. So here's our edit text box. Here's that text that came up. So if we wanted to just initialize that to nothing, we could do it like this. Zero length string or an empty string. Same comments for the second edit text, but I'll show you how to do that in code here. So let's go back to our Java code and let's examine how did we create a reference, or how did we create an object? How did we create a button object that referred to our button that we have on our layout? This is how we did it right here. So this is exactly what we want to do, but instead of having a button object, we want an edit text object. Okay, so let's copy that, Control C, and let's tell ourselves what we're doing. Create a couple edit text objects so we can do what we want with them. Alright, so now obviously it's not a button, but it is what? An edit text. And we can call this my input equals, we need this class cast here, edit text, and what is our ID? Remember our ID, if you forgot it, you can, and let's do that. Let's go to main.xml and see what we did. Our first edit text ID is called edit text 1. Let's change that a little bit to edtxt01. And while we're at it, let's do the same thing here. So edtxt02. Okay, not very creative, but at least it's not the default, so it shows we're in control of our own destiny here a little bit. When we clean the project, that should be added. Our references, I don't think the ID will be added until we actually create the program. Let me take a little peek here. Yeah, see the IDs were not updated. So let's go ahead and run our project again. Yep, save them, and there you go. And that was pretty nice. You saw those change on the fly almost. We have some errors because we were in the middle of creating that reference. Edit text. It cannot find. It doesn't know. The compiler doesn't know what edit text is. Why? Because we haven't imported it yet. Edit text is a widget. And there it is, edit text. Okay, those errors went away. And what else do we need to do? The ID here, remember our IDs are edtxt01. So change this to, and case sensitive course txt01. There we go. Let's change this to my edit. It'll remind us it's an edit text. So my edit input. Alright, so my edit input, we can do whatever we want with that. We can get rid of the initial text value that was set in the XML file. We can actually get text, and this would be a good time to review. So, following our analogy, so you're in the cupboard there, and you found an edit text, or you've got an edit text in your hand. What does it do? Well, let's find out. So edit text. Sure enough, Android widget edit text. Go to the reference and read all about it. Here's edit text. This method right here, editable, this is kind of a strange class, but it's we'll try to use strings where we can versus editable, but in any event, this is what we want to do, is get text and set text, as you might imagine. So for more specifics on get or set text, click on the links. Okay, so I created another one called my edit output. Remember to change the ID pointer. So ed text 02. So button 01, I have that handled. Edit text 01, edit text 02. So the action, when I click now, what I want to do, I want to get text from edit text box. So how do we do that? It is going to be the name here. Dot get text. A lot of gets there. Get text. Remember, this is editable, and it just said that toString will help us. So at this point, we have, let's see what our errors, oh, non-final. Okay, so we'll make it final. Well, it looks like we're almost there, but we still have edit text here, which I don't know why. I thought we set this to a zero-length string in our XML file, but just to make sure, we will clear this. It's basically working. If you spell your name right, it looks a little nicer, but let's clean up this edit text, and then we'll call this a wrap. Alright, so let's do that right here. Clean up both edit text. Fields. So it's going to be my edit text input dot set text and that is double quote, no space. And we'll do exactly the same thing for my edit output. There we go. And we'll run that. Let's do one more thing before we do that, just to show you it's really just Java code here. The set text, so the output, we can put a greeting in here. Hello, concatenation operator, string variable, and a string. How are you today? Alright, just like we've done in first week of Java programming. And click for a greeting. Great. Alright, this will conclude input-output demo, part of the From Scratch set during week 3. And this will be about a 28-minute video.